Anyway, so I'm gonna, how you going, everyone? Anyone out there in the interwebs world? I've got that big chainsaw cut there. I'll just grind that down a bit and start from there once that's down.
There you go. Is that just pine?
This one is peppercorn.
Oh, okay.
Cracked a buggery. That's why I've got a bigger piece here where the chainsaw mark continues. I just chopped this piece off because it was a really big split and it was obviously going all the way through it. There's no point chancing it. So if I don't end up doing anything with this, then I'll do something with this. My dog loves honey. My wife and I, we've always wanted to get a beehive, but we can't because my dog just loves honey too much. I can just see him like a bear, like Pooh Bear or something, sitting there eating it all until it's all gone, even if he feels sick from it, you know. And I have honey in my coffee. I don't have sugar or anything. And so he gets a little bit of honey that way. And I've got a honey spoon, and it's really tricky for him to get the honey out of. So what I do is I sit the spoon outside on a log and it drips down the log. And he just comes past every now and then and just licks the log. It's a drip of honey because it's really thick honey. It's quite funny, actually.
Yeah, I would rather have honey than regular sugar, too. It's better for you.
Yeah. There's ample beekeepers around here, so I get it straight from the source.
Oh, you lucky dog. That'd be cool to get the wax, too.
Yeah. And we also have a whole heap of beekeepers got together in Australia, and they made a map. It's called the Honey Map of Australia. And it's got hundreds of beekeepers on it around Australia. So no matter where you are in Australia, you can always look at that and go to your local beekeeper and get some good honey. It's great. It's made. I think it's made by. It's on a website called Save the Bees or something like that. Save the Bees Australia or something like that. Anyway.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I'm looking at the website.
Yep.
Now let's see. You're more towards Perth, right?
Nah, I'm in South Australia.
Okay, so you're more like Melbourne.
In between the two, right in the middle of the two.
Let's see.
They might even have websites so you can go and buy it yourself.
You know, that's a interesting thought is I should look that up for my state.
Yeah.
My wife is 2 hours late. She was working today, and she's not home yet.
2 hours.
2 hours. She's going to be tired.
Yes. Do you have to clean up today?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in trouble. What's going on? Didn't I send you a message? Thought I did. Where is it? I can't answer it on here while I'm in one, Dr. Bob. Yeah, look. Shit. Alright, there you go. Go on. Dr. Bob's coming in.
Cool.
He's just tried ringing me on Messenger and I can't answer a video call while I've got my video being used in StreamYard.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to decline his call and I quickly sent him the link because I may have forgot to send it to him, but don't tell him that, all right? He's listening. He's in YouTube anyway, but I put it in his chat and I just didn't hit enter. What? Oh, bloody twat.
Happens.
As soon as I start, I'll wait and wait.
Hi, everybody. He's frozen. I'm not. Here we go again. You get to look at this. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, well. We'll just wait. Come on, Jason. Where are you?
He found himself.
No better time for the Wi-Fi to drop out than right when I've started a live, eh?
Right?
Bloody technology.
And the sad part is it probably kept me going, and I was keeping everybody entertained, and
That's what you guys are for, isn't it?
How you doing, Bob?
How you going, Bob?
Good. Good.
You have a good day?
Yeah, fairly so. I was recouping from yesterday's training and going and trying some of it and getting frustrated, and you know how that goes.
Yes.
I do.
Though I didn't see Jay's face, but I did see his name in attendance.
Yes, my camera was playing silly buggers right up until the very end, and I figured out what it was, and it was the end of the show. So, but I got to listen and I got to watch Cindy, so that was the main thing.
She is a good instructor.
Yes, that was definitely a different way of hollering. That's for sure. Maybe a bit easier than the way I was doing it.
Yeah.
I'll have to buy one of those systems and modify it so it fits the tiny lathe.
Well, use some of your magical powers, and I'll transport a lathe, and I'll give you one.
I'll just pull it apart. Just get your kids to pull it apart and send it bit by bit, bearing by bearing. It's just politely ask my dog to be quiet, you know.
Oh, they never listen. Mine will if it thinks there's food in it for
them. Rat bags, aren't they?
And as soon as I get off of this and it calms down around here and I get the lights turned off, it'll be right laying next to me in bed.
Yeah. Mine's laying on his blanket on the back porch, barking at fresh air. And I go up to him and I just put my hands out and I'm like, "What's going on, mate?" And he just looks at me and wags his tail. He's like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm barking at, right?"
Well, he heard something. Don't forget, dogs
Yeah.
have hearing 4 to 6 times better than humans.
Yeah. I don't think our dog's got that great a hearing these days. The breed's only meant to live for like 14, 15 years, and he's 15 now and still going strong. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
You must be feeding him well.
yeah, he gets his meat cooked fresh every night.
Wow.
That's being spoiled.
He gets meat cooked even when I don't get meat cooked. And I'm asking the missus, "What's that? It smells so good." She goes, "Oh, it's not our tea. It's the dogs." It's like,
So what kind of meat do you feed them?
we
Kangaroo? Dingo?
No, it's actually a mixture. Bit of possum, bit of native in there.
Tastes a little gamey, but he doesn't care.
Yeah, whatever I can spear,
Little wombat.
That's it, yeah. Chuck it in there, bit of fruit bat, We get the butchers, they mince up all the meat they can't sell, and like the ribs and stuff like that, they mince it up and sell it as pet food. So, and we pay like $1 a kilo or something like that.
Won't find that in the States.
No.
Yeah.
In fact, pet food is high, as far as pet food goes, it has stricter regulations on it as human food does.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't ever feed my dog canned food. I wouldn't eat it, so why would I feed my dog it?
I just can't stand the smell. Makes me want to hurl.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Oh, who's this? Someone else is joining. Uh-oh, look out. Trouble's here.
Oh, I recognize that lathe anywhere. I hate to say
Hello.
that.
I recognize those feet.
I recognise that cough
No.
anywhere.
Yeah, the cough.
Yeah.
Smoker's
Yeah.
cough.
Yeah. How you going, Robbo?
Not even smoking something that'll get them high and excited.
It's not even worth it, is it, Bob?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. It's 11:11. At least where I'm at.
What's going on today, Robbo?
Bloody doctor's ringing me up. There'll be another phone call in a minute.
What's going on? Why are they ringing you? What's going on?
Phone consultations they are at the moment. I've just got all the I've got all the results of tests and everything back that I did a little while ago.
Did you put some wood shavings in there?
More shavings.
Did you put shavings in your tests to make it authentic?
Oh, yeah, well, that actually, don't laugh, but one of the ones is an x-ray for TB, of course, which they do sometimes, and I had to go back and have a second one because there was a shadow on my lungs, and it turns out that they reckon it's sawdust in the bottom of them, a little bit of dust and stuff.
Better than cancer.
For sure.
Well, that's right. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It has happened. Oh, it happened about 10 years ago as well. I had to go back and have a second set done. But no, I was that buggered last night after my live that I went into Steve's for about 5 minutes and said no, can't stay awake, and I actually slept until 9 o'clock this morning.
Nice. It's on an hour later now that we're in daylight savings, so I won't be watching any of them either.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but they've got too late now.
We just get up that little bit extra early and watch their nighttime ones now.
Yeah. And thank you for your comments, Robert.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
It's one of those that I pirated and stuck on my computer on the hard drive so I could watch it again.
Yep.
Because you don't know what that does to me emotionally. Because as you were going on, I kept hearing my grandfather talk, and that's spooky. Except that he often would go off into some dialect of Irish and swear at me because he was Irish.
No, he was
French as a kid.
Swear at you in Gaelic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I started mimicking him. And I thought that was pretty cool to do it in school until I come up against a history teacher that threw a book at me and caught me in the back of the head for saying something to somebody, and I didn't know what it was it meant. He said, I will not have that in my schoolroom. You go see the principal and tell him what you did. And I said, I don't know what I did. I just repeated what my grandfather taught me when he gets mad. He said, if I could, I'd wash your mouth out with some stale whiskey. And then I had to go back and ask him what it meant. And he bent over and he whispered in my ear what it meant. And my grandmother was standing back at the doorway about 20 yards away. And he was whispering what it meant to me, and I got laughing. And all I know is that she come running out there and would give him a big lecture, and shouldn't do that. Can't do that. That isn't language that he should learn.
Too late.
No, I used to be able to. My dad was a French, English, and history teacher. And Dad and I used to converse in French around the house when I started learning French. So I was becoming fairly fluent in it, actually. And I was on a trip once, and we get very, very few French travellers out here, French tourists, because French people don't like leaving France for some reason. You get very few tourists out of the place. But anyway, there was a French couple talking behind me, and they were on their honeymoon, and she was sort of berating him a little bit because it wasn't what she expected in the bedroom department, you see. And they're carrying on and talking, and of course all the other part of the carriage is completely oblivious except me. So as I got up to leave, I said to them, "Oh, bonjour, very interesting conversation, thank you very much," in French to them. Well, I've never seen two people turn so bloody red in all my life.
Oh, that's great.
I'll tell you, I screwed up I had to pick a foreign language. It was a requirement in Michigan to pick a foreign language in high school, and English, French, and Russian were the three offered at the time. And I thought I'd take French because I have a lot of friends in Canada, and my father had to learn to speak French when he went to school in Canada, served in World War II, and he had a French commander that the Canadian group he was with was attached to, and he'd swear at people in French, except that a French Canadian and Parisian French are as different as English and Spanish.
Yeah, well, it's not only that. Like my dad spoke Marseille French,
Right.
and that has more swear words in it than the rest of the French language. I tell you, because they're all fishermen down there. So, but every province in France has a different dialect, and sometimes the Parisians can't understand. They can tell you, well, it's sort of like England in a lot of ways. English people can tell where people come from, what shire they come from, just by the way they talk, and it's the same in France. But some of the dialect is so hard to understand that a Parisian can't talk to another one because they use an upper class French, of course, and it's interesting.
Yeah. Actually, French Canadian and French that's found in New Orleans, Louisiana, are almost the same.
Yeah.
Except they have more English words intermixed with the French.
Yeah.
But in Quebec, it's really bad off.
I just find it interesting, Bob, that one of the options for your languages was English. I must admit, most Americans should learn to speak English, I think.
Yeah, we haven't spoken it in years.
Sorry, Blair.
No, it's true. Especially when you're talking Southern, or if you start speaking Creole. Oof.
Well, we were taught that it's the King's English. We didn't speak the King's English either.
No,
and the spelling is different because, us Americans, we got to change everything.
Oh, that's right. And you tend to be very lazy with things. Like the greatest improvements made in wood turning were, in a lot of cases, by Americans for the simple reason they found lazy ways to do things.
Well, I think that 80% of the Americans never were trained in formal turning like I was.
No.
And you are.
That's probably true. But you were talking about your grandfather before. I had an interesting experience here about 10 years ago. I was busy working up in the corner working on something, and my mum and dad came to visit me. Now, my father's father, my grandfather on my father's side, died when he was 9 years old, so he didn't have a lot to do with him. But they got to the door, and Dad turned about 40 shades of white and had to hang on to the doorpost. And Mum said, "What's wrong with you, Brownlee?" He said, "God," he said, "that is my father turning there. He's the same build, the same beard, the same action, the same everything. It's my father standing there." He said, and I just saw him in his shed, and I nearly passed out because he was a wood turner, cabinet maker by trade. So I thought that was rather interesting that he thought I was his father. But it freaked him out.
Yeah, we do pick up traits. But then again, over the years, I have I don't know if it's appropriate or whatever, have come to believe that there are such things as puka.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And of course, that's a very old English term, I found. But, and of course, it was made popular by the movie and the stage play Harvey, where Harvey believed he could see his mother and talk to his mother all the way through the play. He talked to, nothing.
Yeah.
It was a comedy, hilarious comedy. But it was, the proper term was a puka. The English term for it. Harvey was a British play originally back in the days uh, when you'd go to the theater and they might have a one-reeler silent, but they'd also have some sort of play or sketch or music bit to go with it. And Harvey was the whole story about Harvey talking to his mother, even though she was dead, telling him what to do and what not to do. And in reality, you could see as an actor, there was an actor that acted as Harvey's mother.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she always
Yeah.
had pieces of wisdom.
And see, Bob, I thought you were talking about the Harvey. That's the rabbit.
No, it was a Broadway show, and it was a movie, and before that, a British play. And that's the name of it, just Harvey. I used to be into drama very heavy as a young man, a kid and a young man, but I was on the technical side, not acting, but technical.
Yeah, that sounds like me. I was always backstage, stage manager, lighting director, or whatever.
That's
Yep.
my son, my youngest son. Does the same thing.
Ah, interesting job. I could have actually carried on with it instead of, but of course, when I was growing up, the thing was that, oh no, you need a trade, boy. You need a trade. If you're not going to be an academic, you had to have a trade. So consequently, I knocked back two very good opportunities to do something totally different than what I do now. But who knows what would have happened?
Well, I went and tried it. I got the union card and all, but I started off in ham radio and then got all the broadcast FCC license, Federal Communications Commission here, FCC.
Yep.
And they govern all licensing for anything broadcast, regardless radio, TV, ham radio, commercial radio, telephone, telegraph. They make the rules and they also write the tests. So I was a ham operator because uh, my other grandfather, off my father's side, uh, uh, was a ham radio operator. So I learned from my grandfather on that side. But that was a weird side. He was from Canada, Brantford. And Tonto, Jay Silverheels, and him used to play hockey together. They were real rascals in all sorts of stuff they did in school, which I found when he confided in me more in middle school and high school about some of the stuff that him and Jay used to do, and then everybody here knew who Tonto was because you heard him on the radio, and then he was on TV with the Lone Ranger.
Yep.
And
Kimasabi.
yeah, and all of a sudden one day I was probably 6th grade. He showed up at the doorstep because he was over to see a hockey game because my dad and him used to play hockey all through school. All Canadians play hockey, so they say. I mean, they're born on skates. And my dad said, well, I can get you, on the rink with him for practice because he knew a couple of the Canadian skaters on the Canadians. That was the name of their team. And he come in and he sat down and I was introduced to him as Jay or Uncle Jay at the time. It was only appropriate.
Yep.
And
Like us.
I had never known, and I kept looking at him and he looked familiar, but couldn't be. We go over to the ice rink for practice and I go with him and we're sitting there and watching them all scrimmage, and he was with the Canadian team because he knew 4 or 5 of them, of the players on the Canadian team he went to school with. And it was a ball. And I was out on the ice having fun. until somebody come up and recognized him and called him Tonto. And it dawned on me, it was Tonto. So,
One of the funniest things that I remember from Johnny Carson is when he was on there and they were throwing axes.
oh yeah, I remember that. What was some of this shit that I shouldn't say that fecal byproduct uh, that they used to get into that my dad would tell me about when we'd go fishing or something, and when they were kids type thing, they used to get into more hassle. And then, oh heavens, 30 years later, 40 years later, yeah, because Jay was in his 70s. He happened to be the guest speaker in Alaska, where I was doing the filming of the pipeline. Uh, and they had this big native conference they were putting on, and Jay was representing the First Nation. That's when they just started calling their Native Americans in Canada, not that, but First Nation, because they were the First Nation on Canadian soil. It was their nation first. So that's what they call themselves, and of course their individual tribal names. But they were having this big First Nation because they included the Alaska, the Aleut, the Tlingit, the Eskimo, and all the different tribes in Alaska. Because at one time they migrate back and forth. That's one group of people who can migrate across borders and don't need passports or anything, just their tribal ID. And Jay is sitting at the head of the table as a guest. And all the other tribal people, they're heads of the different tribes from the United States and all over Canada were there, and representatives in a big audience. And I'm standing back next to one of the cameramen I had that were recording it for posterity on movie film, because videotape didn't exist then other than amateur stuff. And we were getting 4 cameras because this was important. And I didn't know Jay was going to be there because I didn't get a program until I hit my hotel room that night beforehand, 2 days earlier. And I had all the programming and contacts from each of the different First Nations, and so we could get interviews. Long story short, the first day he does his speech and he hardly looks up because he passed away about 6 months after the shooting, and he looks up and he just talks to people and he's talking to a microphone, and I had to have a real low camera shot, almost table height, to catch him when he'd look up at the people on the table. He couldn't sit straight. I found out later he had scoliosis, the curvature of the spine, through degenerative, from all the horse riding tricks he used to do. And he played hockey professionally too in Canada. And everybody around the table, the heads of all the tribes, they all got, introduced, and Jay is the spokesman that helped put all this stuff together over the years to get all the First Nation and U.S., the different Indian nations in the U.S. And it was really odd because he goes around and he says, there's one person I know here that knows me longer than all of you combined. And he's just still talking. And I thought, well, it's one of these other people that's sitting around the table. And he looks up and he's over there looking important and just standing there with his glasses on. He says, hi, Bob. Is your father still alive? I fell over. I backed up and fell over a chair. he remembered who the frickin' I was.
Wow. That's cool.
And everybody turned to look at me as if I'm someone special. And he says, "Oh, I knew him when he was just a little wee learning to ice skate." And then he looked at me and he said, "Don't you dare say it." And I said, "Hi," and he looked up again. "Yeah, hi, oh, Silver." And I come back and away. And everyone's looking at me because they didn't know that he was Tonto. Most of them, he's just a screen name. He was some big Indian, head of Indians in the United States and Canada for bringing the tribes all together. That night we talked until he fell asleep sitting in a chair in his room, and finally I told him I'm going to have to go. Like he had a plane to catch. But
So,
then he was telling me all the dirty stuff that him and my dad used to do that my dad wouldn't tell me about.
Bob, I have to kind of interject for a minute. So my wife is a genealogist, and she comes across, different families and their stories and stuff like that. And one thing that you should do, I mean, if you've got time and whatever, is record these stories so your family will know them. They're gems. I mean, even all of your radio stuff and all of that, these are things that, they're awesome gems.
Well, I'm lucky to have a really odd life. I'm listed on 2 Academy Awards. I'm listed on a Pulitzer Prize.
See?
I've done a lot of weird stuff in my life, and then I get good at it and do lectures on it, and then find something else that intrigues me.
Yeah, you should like either record it or write it down or something like that, so your family knows about all of these stories.
Yeah, my sister's been bugging me. She's a genealogist, but she lives in Northern Virginia, and I don't get to see her that often, though we do talk through Facebook video chat often. I see her for a couple of weeks a year, and that's about it. I'll go down for Thanksgiving. She lives outside of D.C.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Virginia is really pretty. I like Virginia. The one time you've heard the term raining buckets.
Oh, yeah.
The time I was back in DC was the time that I saw it rain buckets. Just unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I've seen. Well, I lived in Manassas Park for years and years when I worked for the feds.
I know where Manassas is.
My sister still lives there.
Matter of fact, I think I went to a concert in Manassas.
Oh. Outside of Manassas?
Yeah, I think it's
Nissan.
Nissan.
The name of the pavilion. It's changed names so many times.
Yeah, it was like Nissan Pavilion or something like that. And
yes, that's the newer name. I think it still might be that, but I remember before it was that. Yeah, that's about 3 miles from where my sister lives.
Oh, okay. Yeah, back in the day, I used to work for America Online.
Oh, AOL.
Oh, good old AOL. And
I knew where their headquarters are. The CIA took over part of the building here about 15 years ago.
Huh. I wonder if they took over the backbone.
Don't know. I
But
know it was a lot of their stuff was sold off, but I know the agency picked up some of the building, a few floors of it for some project work.
yeah,
But that's a good 20 years ago, 15
yeah.
years ago.
I was there during the heyday. I at one point had so much stock that when I took out my stock, I bought a golly, it was only a couple years old Suburban, and I just paid cash for it
Hmm.
because they gave me so much stock and it was making so much money.
Oh yeah, that was. I remember when that started, and some of the people that helped start it. Well, I remember when Bill Gates, we had to use him at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. He came and spent about 4 weeks helping to get the basic running properly on the Radio Shack Model 1, which we were doing part of the development in my lab, the microcomputer development lab. And he was fun. Some of the stories in those early days of computers and computer networking, and the first time we ever had to get we wanted to tie our lab to Berkeley because Berkeley was doing great things, and we were because we had government funding because the University of Michigan Ann Arbor has its own nuclear reactor, and they teach it. They have the big wind tunnels, and every man who's ever been on the moon has gone to school there because that's where they had the big wind tunnels that were built for the auto companies and for air testing because there GM and Ford put tons of money into that northern campus. Now they're building a highway here in Michigan. They go from Dearborn to Ann Arbor for total autonomous driving vehicles to help develop and work on the standards for it. And it's all funded privately through the some association of automated vehicles. But the university has been working on that for a long time. Even when I
Interesting.
left to work for Uncle Sam, we were using the Tandy Model 1 in the back seat of a car with a Burr Brown data logger capturing information on the fly in a car. And heretofore, you had to do it in a building.
Hmm.
But now let's put the computer and used a little Z80 because it was powerful enough to do it.
Yeah,
And now
I
they're
remember the
building the
first
highway.
computer that I ever touched was a PET computer, PET.
Yep, been played with them. We had those in our lab too.
Hmm.
Commodore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got I got a PET, and I got the other Commodores that they had at the time that they come out with, and I've donated a lot of that to the Smithsonian over the years. When I lived there in D.C., I just packed everything up and had a friend that said, "Well, we're going to do an exhibit, but we'd like to have some that work that we can take and put on the road for part of our school programs." And I had two working. Well, all the brands of Tandies, all of them up and working. So I
Wow.
donated all that, so that's in their museum.
Yeah, I still remember the 5-inch floppies.
Yep, and the eights. Remember when we made them flippies,
Yeah.
and everyone said you can't do that, but what do you mean you can't? You buy this punch and you punch the hole in the other side so you can turn it over, and
Yeah.
you right on the other side. But they didn't want people to know that because then you wouldn't buy as many.
right?
I still have, now, where is it? I don't see it here. I'll dig it up for next time we get together. Something you've probably never seen. The very first device that would plug into the Z80 bus on a Radio Shack, because that was the printer bus. Their external bus was actually a standard uh, HP bus for printers, parallel. And it's the first voice recognition software, or hardware and software to go with it, ever done on a computer, other than Bell Labs in Ohio. Remember them having the computer sing Daisy? That was a popular thing for nerds to have a copy of that recording. Well, we didn't have our computer sing, but we did the Radio Shack Model 1, and we actually added voice recognition. It would recognize up, down, left, right, stop, start, jump, and duck were the words that we found were easy to be able to decipher, and anyone can train it to say those words. You'd say up, and you'd push the up key, and you have to say it like 5 times until it got 3 or 4 solid samples of what up was. And it was only running at 1.7 clock speed. Because to make them run at 2, of which is what the Z80, if you go to buy one at the store and paid a ton of money for that processor, it was running like $75, $80 for a working Z80 at 2 meg. But anything that failed, it Tandy bought and put in the Model 1 because it was fast enough for what we were doing. And Tandy was buying them at $1.50 a piece. Just bluntly buying them all, and if they threw away a third of them, they still lucked out. And I still carry in my wallet the first chip cards ever used. I have one of them. It was a payroll card. And I've got one for the Atlanta Olympics that had a chip on it, the first publicly issued one. But it wasn't considered publicly by the Bank Card Association because it was only used by the Olympics and Coca-Cola. And it had money for Coke, and it was used by the Olympics for access control because we worked with them and Schley Glock to have the chip key open doors for everybody and also let you in the events. It was your ticket, and Coke was pushing it, so they gave you I think it was $5 worth of Coke drinks for the Olympians, and everybody else you got one free Coke. But that was built in the price you paid to get in the Olympics anyway.
Yeah,
I like working on inventing stuff and running teams when they say it can't be done, and I always put my head up and what do you mean it can't be done?
That's like a red rag to a bull here.
Yep.
People come in and say, "Look, I've been told that this can't be done," and I say, "Anything can be done if you've got a big enough wallet."
Well, even Jay lives with something he takes for granted. So much so as he can't do without it, like he couldn't do without toilet paper. And everybody thought we were out of our mind when we were talking about having something called a cell phone or radio communications like cell phones. But the Canadians invented them, and they don't get the credit for it because they got screwed royally by a couple of U.S. manufacturers. They bought the rights to everything, and in the same time, they bought the rights to the name.
Yeah. Sorry about leaving that. It was a doctor on the phone. And I had to go in and tell my wife, of course, because she's the first to know anything that goes on. Everything's all clear,
Good.
so that makes me happy.
Very nice. That's good to hear. I'm glad, Robbo.
No, I don't know if you know, Blair, but my kidneys always kept up a showing going into failure, and the doctor's been a bit concerned about it, but I've had CT scans and everything in the last couple of weeks, and
Um,
anyway, it's not. It was another glitch in the system which medication fixed, so that was good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, thank God.
Excellent.
my stepdad reached stage 3. Stage 4 is like pretty much you're shutting down.
Yep.
And there's no coming back. And so they said, okay, you are on this special diet, and you have to drink so much of this a day. And it's been probably a month and a half, and he's lost 20 pounds. He doesn't take blood pressure medicine anymore, and his kidneys are back where they should be.
Yeah, that's sort of what happened to me, and to a large extent, like over the last 3.5, 4 years, I've lost just on 28 pound.
Mm.
So mainly because of my knees. My knees are shot.
That's what you get for being a second story man.
Well, this is right. Yeah, I know. Geez, Jay's missing out on the conversation today.
I'm sure he's listening. Don't
Oh,
have
he's
his
listening,
iPods
all right.
in.
He's probably
What was that?
probably glad I'm
Yeah.
not yelling at him, actually.
I kind of wondered where you were, because it's very rare for you to have your microphone on mute.
Well, no, I had to answer the phone. I'm sure you didn't want to hear what I had to say to the doctor, so
I don't know,
Yeah,
you
well,
might be
that's
surprised.
What did you do to your hand, Jay? Just dip it in paint, or is that iodine?
yeah,
He got attacked by a hot dog.
no, no. Rob said something before about toilet paper, and I was about to say no. Jay doesn't use it because look at his hands.
I was thinking of that, but I didn't. I left it open.
We'll just leave it at there then.
That's all right. Many years ago, I had to do a public demonstration of wood turning to a
Oh,
group
that's
of
your
late.
urine sample?
Yeah,
Yeah. And I painted a goblet with it. This is a urite goblet.
Yeah.
Is that pretty cool? Is that enough for you to pee in for the night? Or do you need something a bit
geez, that
bigger?
wouldn't do me.
It's
No,
a carrot
many-
thief for a drinker.
Yeah, many years ago, I had to do a public demonstration for a heap of women, and the day before I'd been staining stuff. Now I can't. It's just my way. I've never worn gloves except to handle dangerous chemicals, and I can't work in gloves properly except to turn. So the latex gloves annoy hell out of me. So I never wear gloves. So consequently, my hands were they were black and brown from staining, putting a walnut stain on a big cabinet. And I had to do a thing. I had to wear gloves to do the demonstration. For the simple reason my hands looked like they'd been where they shouldn't have been, you know. I take it you're making a mushroom, are you, Jay?
Is that the
I guess so. I just put the piece of wood on. That's what I said to Blair. I don't know what I'm making, but whatever I make, I make.
Yeah, you should have rounded the top out a bit more, but that doesn't matter. And you should have done with a
Oh.
skew chisel too.
Jay, you can still do it.
yeah? You're chucked.
Hey, I'll ban you. I told you before, Blair.
Yeah, before you sand it, get the point on it. Round the top over.
Or you can
Yeah.
just put a tenon on that back end, and then put it in your chuck.
Are you guys trying to make it harder for me, or
Never
what?
make it easier.
Well, you got to extend yourself, Jay, or you
It's
don't learn
chucked up
anything.
now.
I thought I'd already done that. Hey?
Make the mushroom. Finish the
Yeah.
cap of the mushroom.
Yeah,
Oh. Come on,
because
now.
you're holding it in a chuck. You're holding it in a chuck, aren't you?
No.
No,
Oh, it's
he's just
between
got the
singles,
dry
right?
stir.
Oh yeah. Put your tenon in near the base, Jay.
What did you do for AOL?
So I was a tech at first, used to answer all kinds of questions, and then AOL had other companies hire AOL to troubleshoot their version of their software and troubleshoot different problems and modem connections and all of that kind of stuff. So I switched to that department, and then I went to a training department, and that's when I started going back to DC. And then they made me a supervisor, and so I was a supervisor for a long time. And they started losing money, and so they had the saves department. And so they were actually paying their saves people more than the managers. And so I thought, okay, I'll do that. Well, by the time I was doing that, I could barely walk through the doors. I pretty much wanted to shoot myself because it was just a drudgery to go in there. And thank goodness they fired me. And they fired me for just a real stupid reason. Because one, I was making way too much money. And, you know, they knew that I just wasn't happy. And so one of the policies that they said was an FCC rule was anytime somebody called in, you had to tell them what their pricing plan was and, you know, a few other things. Well, if somebody calls in and just asks just a real stupid question, you just want to get them off the phone and then, you know, move on. Well, I did that, and they recorded me, and they said, "Okay, bye." So,
Entrapment.
but you know, all in all, it was a really good job. I learned a ton of computer stuff, and I still have friends to this day that we talk to, you know, weekly.
So what do you do now?
I am a jack of all trades, master of none. I fix anything, just about anything. I'm HVAC certified. I can run a public pool. You know, when appliances break, I fix those. I do cabinetry. You know, just whatever.
Nothing in your background in electronics and data?
Nope. And matter of fact, I was in management for a long time with another company, and I really enjoyed that. And then I really couldn't take the office stuff anymore. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go out and do something else. And I ended up at a company that has a whole bunch of apartments. And I was manager of the tech crew for 2 different places. And then I just bounced to another company maybe, about 2 months ago.
With an electronics background, and you go that way. Interesting.
Yeah, right.
Burnout.
Well, and that's the thing, is I probably should have stayed with the computers, just because, you don't have a lot of hassle a lot of times, but I still have some buddies that are in it.
Don't you dare, Jay!
Uh-oh.
Don't scrape it.
You got yelled at.
You've got to scrape it. You should have a good finish off the gouge without having to resort to scraping it.
Did you not say use the skew?
You're going to scrape it with the skew.
I guess you haven't been watching for the last 5 minutes then.
Sorry?
I guess you haven't been watching for the last 5 minutes then?
No, you weren't exactly cutting properly, but it wasn't scraping. You're about to put the skew flat on the... When you were going down there, that was the right way of doing it. Like that. That's not scraping. No, that should be all right up there, Joe. I wouldn't worry about it. Just curve that top bit over a little bit with a long point.
Just make a real nice round over.
Yeah. That's it. Now give yourself relief by coming in from the tailstock end and putting a V-cut in there to get rid of waste. Remember, you've always got to have somewhere for the chisel to go down into.
There you go.
Now you can take that tailstock out of the way, I'd reckon, and just gently snip that top off. Because remember, you've only got a very thin stem that you're holding on to now. No, just use the long point and just come down into it.
Good morning, Steve.
More phone calls.
Did someone come in?
Yeah, Stacy came in.
Sorry, couldn't hear that over. How you going, Stace? I have it on full screen and I can't see the chat.
We're not doing our jobs as earworms, sorry.
I'm on my tablet, so I can't get a chat unless I use my phone and connect a second time.
That's looking good, Jay.
Well, when you left, NASA was hiring, I believe, in that period of time. Surprised you didn't go there.
Well, like I said,
Afternoon, Stace.
I didn't get much of a chance, so I went to a local company that was tech oriented, and went to management. So
the reason we started early, I don't know whether they told you, States, we're on daylight savings now, so we move forward an hour.
ours doesn't start until the 1st of November.
Oh, right.
I hate it.
Oh, I love daylight savings.
I just don't like the change. I think they should just keep it the way it is all year round.
I'd like it if they moved the clocks forward 3 hours, actually. So as we get daylight at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You'd be happy working at one of the poles.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the nice things about living in a mountain state is when the sun goes down, we still get like an extra hour of daylight because it just reflects.
Yeah, that's the difference here. Like living in the southern states of Australia, Victoria and South Australia, we get a fairly long twilight. If you move up to Queensland, it's like somebody threw a switch. When the sun goes down, it's dark. There's no twilight. It's a tropical sort of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, that looks much better, doesn't it, Jay? Just listen to us old farts.
I do.
Yeah, sometimes
Do you listen to the young fart? Do you listen to the young farts answer?
Yes, we do. I've learned I must admit, I've learned some interesting things off some young farts.
I watch the kids here and they sit some of the games they're playing.
You know, Jay, that's not bad looking for a piece of firewood.
Yeah. Sorry, Bob, you were mumbling there, I think.
I was saying I watch some of the young kids I got around here.
Can't hear you, Bob.
No, it's suddenly gone real quiet. You ever gone to sleep there, have you?
No.
Oh, there we go.
We heard that.
Yeah, I must have a break in this wire.
Oh, right.
I've got Bluetooth headsets, but I'd rather have the directional mic because everyone else is sleeping, except the teenagers, and they're online.
Yeah.
They got
I'm going to have to go
with friends around the world.
Good system. Costs nothing, so... Alright, I've got to go, folks. I'm sorry. Got things to do. Alright, Jay. I'll catch you later, alright?
See you, Robbo.
Yep.
See you later, please. See you, Bob. See you, Stace. Catch you all on later. Bye.
Bye. Yeah,
it's 10 o'clock and my wife still is not home.
Oh.
Not good.
Whereabouts you located?
We're in Utah.
Salt Lake?
Just outside of Salt Lake, yeah.
How do you like swimming?
You should have been home at 7 o'clock, and it's 10. So...
Have you tried calling her?
I haven't. I've actually been doing this, so that's a good call.
Well, I was watching your ABC News, tonight, Jay. And you were talking about the new influx of money that they're going to put out there. Oddly enough, one of the video channels that I grab online as one I watch often is Australian TV because I really enjoy it. Now the trick is, Jay, is to make another one, but under hollow the top. That's a neat thing to learn to do. That way you make a toadstool out of it or mushroom.
I made it go in a little bit, but only like a millimeter or two.
Yeah, or you haven't got the tools to do it.
No.
But you can make some of your own tools too. A little hook tool will do that.
Like this.
Yeah, that would do part of it. Is she all right?
She's not picking up, but she probably can't hear her phone though either. She leaves her purse like in this little room, and then she's got this great big huge kitchen that she's doing dishes or floor or something like that. She probably can't hear it.
Can you track her with your GPS, or have you set up your phones to do that? Mm-hmm. That's something handy with the kids that I've helped raise, and that I've always, when they get phones, one of the reasons that I give is that we can track your phone and we know where you are.
Yeah, if I had an iPhone, I could probably do it, but I don't. She does. But
you could do it with Android, but Android with Android.
Yeah, I wish, Stace, that He was chin wagging. No, they just work her to death.
Remember,
Tricolor.
Jay, you're working on the edge, so both figuratively and really, the wrong move could catch it and break it. So be careful. Hollowing with a ring tool. No, that'll probably break. It's going the wrong direction. Have you got a cup center or something to bring up the tailstock to do that?
No, the only center I've got puts holes in things.
Oh, you don't have is that a fixed pin in the end of your drive?
No, the tailstock the thing comes out of the tailstock.
No, I mean in your live center for the tailstock. Does the pin come out of it or is it fixed?
No, it's fixed. Yep. It's just the standard one that come with the lathe.
The ones that everybody throws away. Need to get one where you can knock the pin out. That way it'll give you a nice end to it.
Yeah.
And if I was there, I'd throw a bunch of rubber chucky ends that you screw on the end.
Yeah.
You can make something that threads on the end, and that'll give you a bumper so you don't put anything against you could bring it up to support it without damaging it.
Yes. No, I wouldn't mind investing in one of them one day, but the closer Christmas gets, the less money I have.
Yeah.
So after Christmas, then my money's all free again. The little money that I do get, that is.
Okay,
Yeah,
guys, so I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna go take a run to the store, see if she's okay.
Okay.
You guys have a good night.
You too.
All right,
Hope
take
she's
it easy,
all
Blair.
right.
Thanks for coming in. Oh, bye.
I'd move your tool rest over a little closer. You're hung over too much for what you're trying to do. You can pull it towards you some and then turn the rest inward, pointing towards into that hole. Get it as close as you can because that way it'll absorb any of the catch or that you might have. Yeah. And even if you had an old bathroom sponge or something, you could cut that up and make that into something to cover the point on your tailstock.
Yes, I know.
Actually,
I know where you're coming from. I might have something, maybe a bit of cloth or something I could put on it.
yeah, either that or the hole, if you could knock out the live center and then cover up, well, you need the live center in there to spin. And something to protect you from that hole and give you something to push against. You don't need a lot undercut, just enough so as that people could put their finger up and tell it's a mushroom. That looks pretty good. You get a little sandpaper. Yeah, it's just enough so people could feel up inside. That way they know it's a mushroom.
Yes. Oh, my voice
And you
might be a
always
bit
got,
muffled now.
yeah, a little sandpaper.
Yep.
Have you got any watercolor paints, kids paints, that you can dilute and mix up some different colors and put it, then you could paint it with different, start with a light brown and then a little darker by letting it dry and put it on again and the base. You could be creative with that in painting.
About the only coloured stains I've got is yellow and purple at the
No, I'm
moment.
talking about kids paint, water paint,
Oh, yeah.
because it'll soak into the wood and follow the grain pattern, and
Yes.
that'd be more authentic. And you want to be able to have, if you look at a mushroom and you can see the colors vary as you go around the base, and the top of the cap is a little darker often than the sides, and underneath is mostly white with a tint of brown under the caps.
Yes. I've got some pencils here. They're watercolor pencils.
Yeah. When you get it cut off, you can sit and watch the telly and paint it. Yeah, you watch the telly and paint it.
Yep.
It's browns and yellows, but put the yellows on first, and then and then the browns, because that's, at least here, the more dominant ones in color. Though I've seen purple mushrooms, I know not to eat them. And there are some that have red tints to them. I don't know what you have there.
And we got ones here called Gold Top, and that one there you don't eat either. Well, you eat it for its side effects, but it's a magic mushroom.
Yeah, we got them here too. Acetalcytal.
Yeah, we're about the only mushroom I really see is like the white one that just pops out on the grass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the grey, white ones.
We got a lot of forests, so I don't know what you've got around you, but we got tons of woods. Michigan's covered in them. So it's
No, we
said that
got
you can't drive 30 miles without running into a lake in
mm,
Michigan in any direction at any time. So we're used to rivers and lakes and streams and mushrooms and wild pot.
yeah. No, we don't. We got paddocks and new housing estates popping up everywhere. That's all we really got. Terrible.
I wouldn't sand it much because you want the colors to soak in, and then you can take the sandpaper and sand it by hand in some places to make it lighter color or darker or lighter colors, because a mushroom, they aren't perfectly round anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Good point.
The type of thing you can sit inside and do or sit on the porch and do
Yes.
once you get it cut off. And
Yeah. Getting close to midnight there, wouldn't it? Or just over now?
yeah, it's 12:25. I tried to watch it last night, and that's when I realized that you must have switched time.
Yeah, because we went forward an hour
Yeah.
Sunday night. That kind of puts everyone out of whack.
And the end of the month, we go back because
Yeah.
we're on daylight.
Yep.
ESD, Eastern Standard Daylight.
Well, we don't come back out of this until March, April next year now.
Yeah, that's when we switch again.
Hello, Yappy. How you going?
So, what's your favorite radio station?
I don't. I'm a boring person. I don't really listen to the radio unless I'm
What type
unless
of
I'm in the
music
car.
do you like?
Practically everything, except for country music. I don't really like that, but yeah,
I'll
a
agree
bit of
there.
everything. I don't mind. I grew up. My uncles and all that all listened to Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and all those kind of bands. So I grew up listening to that and Black Sabbath and all that kind of stuff. And
Now you're making me old.
sorry.
It's okay. I am old.
not really into um, the techno-y bop type of stuff. That kind of does my head in, that stuff. And
Yeah.
I like the classical that Robbo plays. I don't mind that. I did have a time in my life when I needed some classical playing in the background at night so I could go to sleep. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I like all kinds of music. I find of different countries and stuff like that to hear how they interpret music differently because
yep.
I find it enjoyable. In fact, I got probably 50, 60 hours of music when I was down there and got addicted to it for the Olympics. Uh, that was fun. I've seen two Olympics plus one Winter Olympics. I should count three. Actually,
In
four.
America or in other countries.
Yeah, yeah. I caught the for Olympics. It was the Australian, the one that was in California. Actually, I had a TV camera crew out for it, and then the one in Atlanta. Uh, I wanted to go to the uh, Winter Olympics, but I've never been able to get to go to a Winter Olympics. But I'll tell you, one of my favorite music albums that I bought as a CD was at the Australian Olympics. And
Oh yeah,
it was in every room in the hotel.
yeah.
And if you took it, they billed you, I forget how many dollars for it, but I fell in love with it. And I have that online in the house, and I can call it up anytime I want through Alexa.
Yeah, interesting. Not many. I can't even remember what you call them now. Where you go to the theatre and watch a live show. There was only one of those that I
Concert.
really liked. Sorry.
Concert?
Yeah, where people are dancing and stuff. There was only one that I really liked, but that was Starlight Express.
Oh, uh-huh.
That was a long time ago. I was in high school when that was cranking around. They didn't really have that many shows like that come to Adelaide. They're always in Melbourne. You could always hear of Cats being played in Melbourne. When that was around, and yeah. Hmm.
I know I got a CD of Australian music when I was there, uh, and I forget who did it. I'm going to have to dig it up and ask you. But it was really interesting. It was traditional outback music, whatever that meant. But the accent and the instrumentation, something I'd never heard before, so I had to buy it. And that's part of my music collection.
Was
And
it
occasionally I'll get it.
Aboriginal music?
No, 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 no. It was what I would call Australian country western.
Okay.
They'd sing about their time on the farm, their outback, and a lot of the slang, like they were having troubles with the dingoes, and I had to look that up, and uh, it was an interesting album.
Yep. Give you something to think about, eh?
Yeah.
Don't take your babies out into the wildlife so the dingoes can't get them, mate.
Nice job. Yeah, and I would cut the little tit out of it, but leave the rest the way it is because that's the way a mushroom looks from the bottom. Yeah, just
I just put that little bit on the belt sander and just knocks it off.
yeah, or a chisel. Pare it off with a carving knife if you got one. Oh, it's Bush Music is what the album is.
There you go. Done.
Uh-huh, because that's the way a mushroom looks. That when you pull it out, you've got a little root like that. Now to figure out how you want to paint it or carve the top a bit. I don't know if you got any carving tools.
No, I'm not very good at that. My hands with little tools are pretty crap. I've got a neurological condition, so using bigger tools is better for me than using smaller tools.
Okay. You got a small drill or a small sander you could help decorate the sides with, the top, just by touching it on the side of the sandpaper, the power sander.
Yes. I'm trying
Practice
to
it. Take the piece of wood out of the tailstock and practice using it to be able to add some vertical striations on the top of the mushroom, because mushrooms aren't smooth all the way around.
Yes.
Just go find a mushroom, but don't smoke it and look at it.
Don't put it in your tea and drink it.
No. Because that'll be a good one to test it on because it's the same wood. And see
Yes.
if you can't get a little bit of a weaviness on the top or something in places.
Yes, good point. Thank you.
And then we'll see it tomorrow night.
That you will.
Well, I better go. It's 12:37 and don't have to get up, but I got a dog whining. He wants to lay down here next to me. It's a big dog.
What kind of dog?
Bulldog. Pit bull.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But it's really big. It's supposed to have been a miniature.
The big sook, eh?
Oh, yeah. A big baby. But he
They
does
all are.
curl up in my shop, and when he was younger, he would chase the shavings from the blade. He used to get a big kick out of trying to grab it with his mouth.
Wackers, aren't they? That was a bit of yellow that I had lying around.
Yeah, and you got some red under it, or is that in the wood?
That's just in the wood.
Oh, then that'll be nice. You can hit the wood with some other colors too, and it'll turn up that way. Let's see if you can hit it to give a little texture on the top, because mushrooms aren't always perfectly straight.
It's pretty runny, this stuff. I've got a little bit of I didn't sand the middle out.
Yeah, that's good. Wow, that is good. Just let it run by itself and then try another color too. And the base can be brown, like dirt if you got brown and black.
Yes.
I don't know what color you have for dirt there. I've seen dirt that's white as can be.
I haven't got any brown, unfortunately, so I've got to kind of mix something up.
Well, I got an idea, but I have crazy ideas. I see something on the floor And on the lathe, that's brown. Or is that
On the
my
floor.
eyesight? Yeah, the shavings.
Like this.
Yeah, a little bit of glue and
You
more on
mean
the base because the base is
around you and
dirt.
around it?
Yeah,
Darker shavings around there, you reckon, eh?
yeah. Touch of super glue or white glue. You don't even need super glue if you got white glue, craft glue.
Yep. I got, here, look, I'll go one better. Look. Coffee
Yeah, a
grounds.
little of that. Well, mix the two. Dirt is not all one color. Put a little in a, you don't need much. You don't need much. A bottle cap to mix the two colors together and then put it on the base.
Yes. Like that.
Yeah, just dab it here and there, but yeah, because you don't want to paint it. You want it to make it look like it nature.
Oh, it's coming out a bit of a green.
Yeah. And then you still got the brown to put on top of it. A little touch of it now and then of the powder,
Yes.
the shavings, because ground is shavings. You got shavings behind the lathe.
I'm going to try and get some of the coffee shavings to soak in a little bit.
Yeah, but that makes it still flat. You want it to have a dimension to it. That's why just for the dirt have some of the shavings stuck as if it is dirt that it's growing in. But you don't want to do it on the stem or the top or the cap.
There you go, look. Got some shavings from outside.
Yeah.
It's just finished raining.
Yeah, that would be nice, and add a touch of the other to mix it. Add some of the fresh brown to go with it, and glue it to the bottom. That's more like it. You don't want to get the light brown. Yeah, that looks like dirt.
Yep.
Throw some super glue on and cover it, and then when it dries, knock it off. Tap it, and whatever is loose is gone.
Yep. Sounds good. Really? What's going on over there, Jappy?
It doesn't have to totally cover it because it's just dirt.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you can do far more than people think you can because it's just, yeah, it's dirt.
Yep.
It adds to it.
Yeah, knowing my wife, it'll end up in the garden anyway.
That's one of those things you could hide and give it to her for Christmas.
Yeah. Go find your presents. It's in the garden. I know what I'd get for that.
Don't forget to randomly come up part of the side, because don't forget the stem comes out of the ground straight.
Yes.
But that can be some of the lighter color too, and that'll make it stand out better. The stuff you have on the lathe now, the lighter color, because it matches the wood it came from there.
Like that. There.
Yeah. Not a lot, but yeah, and all you have to do is shake it off. Don't push it in, and just
Yeah.
whatever fell is there.
Yep.
That's the way nature does it.
Yes, they do it. It does it best. I'm the clumsy human that messes it up.
Yeah. Humans, all right.
Yeah. Well, what's your dog's name?
Riley.
Oh, you've got headphones on. Damn it. Come here, boy.
Riley. Yeah, I've learned that he's
He's going, yes, you're calling me for bed. Oh, you're not. Ah.
oh no, as soon as I turn the light out, he'll be jumping in here. It's a king size bed, but he believes he needs half of it or more.
Yes, my cat's like that. Seems to think it owns 3/4 of the bed.
Well, it's a rescue dog, so I really think that it was abused badly when it was little, and then
Yeah, I
in
hate people that
essence
do that
thrown
stuff.
away, taken somewhere, and just let to run away.
Yeah. Yeah, all of our animals are from a place here they called it's a rescue center for dogs and cats.
Yeah,
And that's
we
where
got
we've
them
got all of
here.
ours from.
Yeah, I said no more several times for pets, but they still keep. I still
Yes.
end up with them.
Yeah, my wife says, no more animals after this. I thought, yeah, all right, knowing damn well that we're going to get another one. Doesn't bother me. I don't mind having them around.
Well, Riley, he likes to lay next to my lathe. He'll lay and watch me. And if I'm busy throwing shavings, and I'll do it intentionally at times, and you know, because you can aim your shavings to some
Yes.
extent, and I'll aim them right on him, and he'll just look at me and then look at where they're landing and look at me, and then occasionally swipe the tail back and forth, and then still lay there and look at me, and then get up and shake it all off. And I'll get the air hose and blow it off, and he likes that. He loves an air hose.
I bet. That's like having your head out the window in the car, isn't it?
Yeah. Big old white dog with black spots, and like one of our gang movies, well before your parents might recognize our gang cartoons. They were in the 30s and 40s, but they were popular up in black and white only. But they had a dog they called Spot, because he had one eye that he was all white except black around one eye.
Yep.
So, but he's got a couple of black spots and the one around the eye.
Sounds like a Dalmatian.
Yeah, but it's a bull.
Disguise.
Looking good. Just let it dry. That is excellent. I like the idea of the green, because it looks like you got a little bit of mold growing here and there.
Yes.
You can still touch it up with some light touches of color in there. When
Yeah.
I gotta get going, it's
All right.
12:50 here.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate the colouring advice. Have a good night.
You too. And tomorrow, think of me, and I'll be up. Send me a notice, and I'll set my timer to look for it.
Okay.
You have a
No
good night.
worries. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Look out. The kids are awake. Uh-oh. Watch out. Made a gold top. Nice one, Yappy. I got a Google Home, right? And you tell her it's a girl, but it's a lady on there, right? And you tell her to, do you know how to fart? And it does every fart sound under the sun. I'll tell you what. Tells you fart jokes. It's quite amusing. You still don't know what it is. It's a gold top mushroom. Look, I even went underneath. See? What do you mean back to school, Yappy? Did they have some time off? What do you get penalised for, Stace? Is that like part of your pension or something like that? The money you get for the kids, or do you guys get that? Where when the ladies have kids here, they get the pension for the kids until they're 5, and then they get the pension plus. They basically get paid weekly, but they get their normal pension 1 week, and then the off week they get like in between a quarter and half. That'd be a bit of a challenge there, Yappy, huh? Yeah. That's quite weird that you get a fine, Stace. So, very weird, in fact. Well, for me anyway. Just obviously not for you, but. But we've got to have because I don't have kids, so I'm not exactly fluent on everything they have to have, but I know they've got to have all their vaccinations, or they're not allowed to go to school. Wait, what? If the kids if the kids at school have got their vaccinations and there's one that hasn't, what are they scared of? I don't know. Sorry, it just does my head in sometimes. Yeah. No, some people just don't get it about infections and stuff, do they? Infections and all those other things. They just can't put them in one category. And sounds like they're a bit dodgy there, Yappy. Does he have a puffer or anything like that? I know you can get different ones. You can get a gas one. You can get a powder one. I can't have the gas one. It sends me off. It sends me onto another planet, and I don't like it. So I have a powder one because I've got asthma too. But maybe look into that, Yappy. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Does he have bad attacks? I've never had I've never had an attack where I've been hospitalised, but I've had mates that have, and I've had a mate that's passed away from an asthma attack too. So it can get pretty hectic. Oh, yeah. It's I don't know. It's very strange, the whole. You're not allowed to sneeze. As soon as you sneeze, people look at you like, he's got COVID. Like, oh, you're not allowed to be allergic to dust these days or anything. It's quite pathetic, isn't it? You need to walk around with a sign on your head that says, I'm allowed to sneeze. It's just dust. But you walk into a clothing store and sometimes they're a bit dusty, you can sneeze there. Is he? Does he wear a mask when he's when he's lathing? Because sometimes some of that, just the dust, can be very irritant as well. Oh, don't be like that. No, if you've got any makeup brushes you don't use, Stace, but they're good for painting wood. Great for painting wood. You're making a magic mushroom? Whoa. Chase it with a bit of metho. Make it run down through the wood a bit, you know. No, I meant for you to use, Stace. At least you know which ones to pick out. I can see Nick going in there and grabbing them, just grabbing the whole lot. Oh, these will do. She won't notice. Oh, come on, Stace, don't be like that. Gave it a bit of texture there. It's got a little bit of spalting in there. Bit of an undercut there, but it's a magic mushroom. Oh, a mushroom morning. Yeah. You got to put it in your tea, Tommy. How you going? Yeah, Amber used to be the same when I first met her like 20 odd years ago, Yappy, you know, caked the makeup on. I convinced her over time that she didn't need it. Now she looks back at those photos and shakes her head. Can't get over how she wore so much makeup, you know. Putting oil fat on your face. Yeah, what I'm gonna do on the top, Yappy, is I'm gonna let that soak in a little bit because I don't put no sealer or nothing on there because I just want it to soak in. Then I'm gonna chase it with some clear, just metho, straight metho. Just drip the metho into it, and it'll actually push the color down and around a little bit and spread it out a bit. Yeah, you're right, Yappy. It's very right, very true. I really don't think any woman needs it. You know, it's not necessary. You don't need it either, Stace. All right. Some of the chemicals that's in that stuff. Jeez. You got his there, didn't you? Natural, Stace. It's just natural. That's all it comes down to. Just natural. It's fine. This is just plain metho now. Is no color. So just bled it down a little bit. It's not look like a volcano. You happy? Do you want to go and visit Steve in the timeout room or what? Got the bit of green grass down the bottom, bit of dirt, and a little bit of dirt at the top there. Too many arsehole men out there. That's why. Treating women like pieces of meat. Chop their bloody hands off, I reckon, those blokes. Can you see the yellow in that there? Yeah, I know a couple of lesbians, and tell you what, the relationships issues they have, I think they're worse than a man and lady relationship sometimes. They're fucking crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but they're cuckoo. That's my turmeric stain that I've been working on, Stace. And Yappy, I'm slowly getting there. Definitely stands out more when it's got another color around it. Sometimes when it's just like you can see the yellow there. It doesn't stand out as much as it does when there's a color near it for some reason. It's a strange yellow. It's actually I thought I'd try shellac with the turmeric, and the shellac actually brought the yellow out a little bit more. It wasn't a disappointment to mix them together, put it that way. Just need to up the ante on the amount of shellac that I've put in to give it a bit more bling. I got this one here. This is a goblet I did ages ago, and this is the first thing that I tried when I tried out the yellow. It looks a lot orange on here. I can only put that down to the shit camera that I own, I suppose, but it's yellow in my hands and orange on my monitor up there. So I not going to show what I want to show if it's coming out orange, is it? But it dyes cloths pretty well. Yeah, yes, Yappy. I was going to do that. Because I got, oops, throw them away. Oh, that's a long way down. I got some colours. They're the water paints. So I was just going to break them up a little bit. Can't half tell I've been playing around with the yellow dye now, can you? Just going to maybe break a couple of these up and get some colour out and mix them in with some water and see what kind of pastel-y colours we can make up out of them. But I'll wait for the first lot of methyl and stuff to dry on it. Because this is my yellow stain. It looks orange, but just because there's shitloads of it. But it's I've got it nice and clear, so you can see my hands underneath. Got all the turmeric out of it. I filtered it with coffee filters, not the not the brown, not the triangle shaped ones that you buy from the shop though. These ones are they're made to go into this little fella. This is a coffee press. It's like it's if you put beans in there, grind your beans up, put them in there, and it can handle boiling hot water. I don't know if your hand can hold it. It's got boiling hot water in it. Anyway, look. So you got these filters that go in there, and that just goes on the bottom. Just locks into the bottom like that. See, and you just put your stuff in there and let it drip through. Works quite well. Little bit of turmeric there. So, yeah. This is the first filter that I put it through, so you can't hardly see my fingers at the bottom. This is the first filter. It's just a cloth, and then I put that through the coffee filter. Yeah, that might be a bit tricky, Yappy. Metallic colours. Or maybe if you know, because you might need like a silver mica or something like that to mix in with it. I don't know. Yeah, good luck with that, man. I'd like to know what happens and stuff. So I reckon that would be very tricky to do metallic ones, I think. There's only so far glitter goes. You really need a fine pigment, you know, like I didn't tell you to go raid your wife's eyeshadow, but yeah, it's nice and fine. Makes a very good colour. Yeah, no, it's good to experiment, that's for sure. I like messing around with colours and see if I can make, you know, if there's a stain out there, it's more than likely I can make it myself. It's like Robbo always says too, you know, we can't get chestnut products here because of the shipping regulations and stuff like that, you know, stupid shit. So I've got to improvise. Yeah. What else was I going to say? Also, maybe if you can get hold of even some liquid shellac or something yappy, put that in there. Give it a little bit more shine. Walnut oil too, that's another thing that'll give you a little bit more shine. Yeah, that's right, Stace. I always keep an eye out in the our local variety shops for when their little eyeshadow packets go on sale. I get them for like 10 cents each or something. Maybe mix some of your own colours up, Yappy. Find a colour chart and see what colours make up each colours. That might be easier. And food colouring only gets you so far because it's so watered down. Well, my yellow actually works better over a piece that's been polished. Oh, you see the none there, and it's got it on there. And then this one here, this has got no polish on it. And it just went orange straight away, like compared to that anyway. And you still get the shine that was on it originally comes through because it's got shellac in it too, so it kind of helps a little bit. Yeah, you like magenta or red and blue is purple, that kind of thing. It's definitely worth looking into, Yappy, if you're going to try and make your own colours. You get a lot more variety, and then you can test, whether you like a darker one or a lighter one. I tried the turmeric mix in some paint as well. This is white ceiling paint. Not too bad. If you do try the turmeric mix though, just be warned that you need to see that's all settled on the bottom. That's turmeric settled on the bottom. And then ever so carefully, you need to tip it up. I don't know, it's hard to show that without swishing all the turmeric around. But what you need to do is you need to stir it around for a while, let it settle for about an hour, hour and a half, and then pour off the top layer. Try not to pour the turmeric in there as much as possible, because that's where it gets tricky. Yes. Now that our daylight savings has gone around, I won't be at the lunchtime lives much anymore, but I'll definitely be at the nighttime lives again. When our summer kicks in, I don't think a 48-degree day is going to be fun in my shed. So I'll more than likely do like mid-afternoon turns. Most probably start about, or late afternoon, sorry. Most be start about 5 o'clock in the afternoon here. So 5 hours later in the summertime. Try and beat some of the heat. Yeah, we gained an hour. That makes us closer to you guys. Like when I started watching you guys last year, we were in daylight savings already. So waking up at 6:30 is not that bad compared to the 4:30 before our daylight savings kicked in. So it's a tricky business, eh? It's really not something that occurred to me when I was watching you guys. I thought, didn't even occur to me that daylight savings, then our hours would go in our winter time. It's like, oh man. Go from watching all these nighttime lives to not being able to watch anything. Oh, it's not very nice. It's not cool, man. All right, I reckon I'm going to knock it on the head. Yeah, we lose an hour, Yappy. Sounds weird, but we lose an hour from it's like in the morning. It's quite weird. All right. Don't forget to hit the like button, folks. Thanks for coming in. Have a good day, night, wherever you are in the world. Yes. No, I don't really like daylight savings, but at least you get to do a little bit more in the summertime. Bit, having that extra hour at daylight.